So what I'm going to do is whenever my arms are fully extended like this, I have to lift my armpits up to make sure that the head of the arm bone there in the backside here is not being pinched into the acromion process. So there's no pinching action, and you got to get your armpits up like this in order to be able to be in that position. Most people, when they get into an elongated position here, just because if the muscles underneath here and the rotator cuff and everything are flexible, and you drop the armpit down, the arm bone presses down to here and it pinches over here. So we got to get the armpits lifted, everybody. Make sure, and it's very hard in child's pose, it's way harder in an inversion when you're upside down to be able to get the armpits back. So please lift the armpits up and take a few breaths in your child's pose with the armpits lifted.
One of the key points is that your hands are very wide. They're wider than your shoulders. And that really makes a big difference. The more narrow you go, the more collision course there is at the shoulder. At the same time, the wider you go presents more mobility, and then therefore also could cause some impingement issues. So the idea is finding what your width is, but I'm gonna say it's probably, if you took shoulder width and then you took your hand distance, like one hand further out, that's probably what it's gonna be for most of you. Armpits lift, and with the armpits lifted, you start to walk back. Now, as you walk back, eventually you can get your bum up, and at this point, it should be that your chest is lower than your shoulders, okay? Now, if you can keep your armpits lifting, then you can start to go down further, and it's like I'm trying to pull the paint of the wall down towards the ground. That's how I'm activating my muscles. Because my hands are fixed, instead of the paint getting pulled down, the armpit lifts up if you let the armpits lifting. Of course, if your armpits are down like this and you press the paint down, it actually increases the pressure. So you have to say, okay, I'm gonna pull the paint down and lift the armpit up. It's a seesaw. So I'm not just pulling the paint down on the wall, but I'm pulling the paint down and lifting the armpit up, then softening the heart down. Okay, that's gonna get the upper body into that back bend, but you gotta work at keeping the armpits lifted. If you feel the pressure in the back of the shoulder, you're impinging your shoulder. Don't let that happen. Like, if you can't figure out how to get the armpits lifted, then don't go as deep until you do. You take your legs and draw them in towards each other, curl back. This left arm rotates outward like so. Right hand behind the head, press the head back. Take the right arm and reach it over. So a nice side bend, back bend here as you curl back, reach and release. Just want to reiterate, at no point in time in doing anything that you do you want to feel pressure here. If you feel pressure here, that'll eventually result in pain. Bring the hands up on the front thigh, Anjaneyasana preparation. So let's go into our flexibility for a second so you can feel that, and then pull out of it. So what that means is pull your back knee towards your front knee, so you're not sinking and falling into the pose. Rather, you're pulling your two knees toward each other, getting the back hip flexors and adductors, inner thighs to activate. Then pick your rib cage and belly up off of your thigh. So instead of being, kind of chilling down here, pull the abdomen upward. Use your transversus abdominis here. So instead of this here, lift your abdomen in and up. Roll your shoulders back, and you can take your thumbs to the middle, or like kind of middle low back region here, and just send the ribs forward. Now take your thumbs to your armpits and pull your shoulders up. Send your ribs forward, but keep your back knee pulling forward so you don't sink into your hips. Belly up, ribs forward, but hips stay strong. Now open your arms to a cactus shape. Send the heart a little bit further forward so you don't compress the back. Throat back, chin back, and release. So let's learn how to do a double stag first in shoulder stands. I like the rolling up. You can do the controlled variation, rolling back. Hands come underneath. One knee stays closer to the chest as both legs come into this double stag position. So see, there's like a bend at the knee. I'm not here, and this creates a nice little counterbalance. Switching is very important. Never do just a single double stag and then stop. If you're gonna do handstand or any inversion with a double stag, it's very important that you do both sides. Otherwise, you wind up with a twisted pelvis. Okay, so now we can explore double stag position. I find double stag easiest in handstand, but we can first learn it in headstand. Use a wall behind you for safety, and see if you can do a headstand or forearm stand if you're avoiding putting pressure on the head. So I bring my right knee to the chest and rock the hips back, and then send the right knee back into my double stagged position. And the left knee staying down is what stops my pelvis from going overboard. You can do flexed or pointed feet, your choice. Actually, for this variation, unlike other forearm stand, your head would be looking more at your hands. handstand like we did last time, but now you can start with your chest and your head looking forward because we're going more into a back bend. You gotta be careful, you don't wanna go overboard, so you don't wanna go too far away from the wall, but you do want some space for that back leg. The ledge is still there, so I'll keep my feet flexed.